Hello YouTube, another video from me. So I have just got this awesome Argos cabinet. It's a glass cabinet from my Action Man collection. Now I have had before the IKEA Detolfs. I still have some of them in my collection, as you can see here, with some other toy lines and other Action Man bits. My plan is basically in this area here is to have 1, 2, 3 of these Argos cabinets. Now why I chose this over the Detolfs is for a few reasons. At the back, this one has a mirror, which makes it look a bit more nicer. It has a light, which you can obviously put ones on in IKEA as well. But what's cool about these lights is it comes with like a little box where you can connect all three up to the same plug. So these cabinets are also wider than the IKEA ones. The normal IKEA ones come to about here. So that gives you that much extra space. And when you display an Action Man, it's in my preference, these are the better cases. Now the downside is the IKEA ones are about £60. They're often reduced to 40, and you can pick them up online on Facebook groups for about £25–30. These ones on your hands cost me £195 plus postage, which is about £10. So it's a lot of money, £205 altogether. But in my opinion, this is worth it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to open up the cabinets and I'm going to show you what's inside. Okay, starting off from the top here, we have the Action Man space capsule. I believe this came out in 1968. Alongside it is the astronaut outfit on card. And this card was a recard. I bought it a couple of years back. As you can tell, the stars are missing at the bottom. He's 100% complete. Annoyingly, his glove has fallen off. There's like a cellophane around it, so it means I can't really get rid of it. I can't really fix it without taking the cellophane off, which is doable, but that's a project for another day. The space outfit is relatively easy to find, but it's hard to find in mint condition. The foil kind of rips open quite a lot, and you get a lot of scratches and dirt, and that metal bar is near impossible to find. It's one of those things where kids don't really know what it does or what it did, and when you're sorting out Action Man to sell on 25 years after you played with it as a kid, these bar things were just like, that looks like a spring, throw it away. But luckily I do also have a complete one actually in the capsule at the moment. He's sat in there, but he'll come out on another day. The capsule's really cool. It's probably my favourite vehicle in the Action Man toy line. It's very 60s. It's based on the Gemini missions, I believe, or the Mercury missions. It's not based on the Apollo stuff. So it makes me think that this is probably in development for a couple of years before they actually released it. Hard to find in box now. They do come up, but this box is really nice. Usually the box is really ripped, but he's fully complete in there. And here we go, you can see me in the mirror at the back. Hello. So we now have my Action Man shelf. So none of my boxes are in here. The reason why was I thought it would just look a bit too crowded. So let's start off on the left. This is the first issue Sailor. He's in his American uniform, sailor outfit. He has the bell bottoms, boots, the shirt, and the white hat. Comes with a dog tag. Now I don't actually like the dog tags that much. They all seem a bit silly to me. They're about 5 times the size they would have been if they were at to scale. But for purposes of showing these off, I thought I'd keep them on. Next up you have the standard soldier. Now the idea of these figures was, it's Gillette model. Gillette is basically you buy the razor for cheap and then you buy the extra blades. Same thing with Action Man. You buy the basic uniform, which is just a hat, trousers, like a jacket jersey if you will, and the dog tags and boots. And then you would buy the accessory sets. Now this caused a bit of an issue when people were buying these up expecting them to have rifles, a bit like that guy there, and helmets and backpacks and stuff, and he didn't have it, so they changed the sticker on the box. So the 60s box actually does 3 versions, one with the basic picture on, one with the sticker to replace it, and one where it's printed. And on the right here you have the pilot, Action Pilot. So very much similar to the other two. It comes with overalls, boots, a blue hat, and some dog tags. Now in the States they also released the Marine, but in UK they decided not to. I think because the US Marine was too much of an American toy really. Pilot, sailor and soldier can be used in the British market. At the back here, back in the 60s, they actually released a final record of Action Man, so you can play at home. It's a 7-inch and it includes the Action Man March, which is basically very much similar to the G.I. Joe March. And you also have some authentic battle sounds so that you can play with your Action Man whilst that's playing in the background. Now here on the right is a Takara Japanese Action Man. I think it's called G.I. Joe actually in Japan. So Takara released this, I believe, in the 70s. Now this is obviously my 60s cabinet, but this is the only one I have, and it's painted head. So I thought, well, why not include it? As you can tell, his face is really different than the actual Action Man or the American G.I. Joe versions. I believe this sort of look is how the Japanese kind of view us Westerners. Big blue eyes, that kind of like expression basically. He's very, very similar to the soldier, just ever so slightly different stitching basically in material, but very, very similar. Okay, down to my favourite shelf. Now, before you say anything, yes, there is one figure missing. You can probably guess. I'll tell you at the end which one it is. But these are the soldiers of the Century line. So this to me is probably the best Action Man line there is. If anybody was ever to want to get into Action Man collecting, these are considered the holy grails in a sense. They're relatively cheap. They just take a long time to basically piece them all together. Very popular back in the 60s. These outfits would go on to sell for a good couple of years after that. The German Stormtrooper, for example. So let's have a bit closer look. So on the left here you have the American Green Beret. Now this soldier is missing his medal. They all came with medals. The Silver Star for the Green Beret is one of the most expensive pieces of Action Man items you can buy as a single item. If you're lucky you can get up about £65, but they can go up to £150, which is silly. I picked this one up many years ago and he looks great with his bazooka next to him. Then you have the French Resistance. He should have a radio pack, which I would put in here, but it's currently packed away. It took me maybe about 2 hours to get this all set up, and I knew I was still missing pieces and items. Australian Jungle Fighter, one of my favourites. This is actually, all of this came from, this figure came from one person who had Action Man in the 60s. He was the very first person who I ever bought Action Man job lot off. He was in the same city as me. And I said to him, I'm after some Action Man. He goes, I got loads in the box I had as a kid. Sold them to me for cheap. I think I paid £50 for him and a load of other ones which I sold on. But I kept this one because I loved him so much. But he has loads of accessories. He has a flamethrower, there's a knuckle, like a knife knuckle thing, which comes with a different blade at the bottom. His entrenching tool, like his spade, comes with the brown kayak coloured handle, which is usually green. And I'm not sure which way the hat should be around. The way that we usually put it is supposedly wrong, so I thought I'd put it that way. Next up we have the German Soldier, probably the most popular figure in the whole Action Man line. I think he's up there with the Red Devil and the Deep Sea Diver. Really, really popular figure. Now, experts will tell me correctly that the helmet is the wrong helmet. It looks exactly the same, but the one that originally came out in the 60s, these were more like transfers rather than stickers. And they're very, very hard to find. I've never come across one yet. Everyone I've come across has been the 70s version. So for now, he will just have to be with the 70s helmet. But yeah, very, very cool. And then on the right, probably my favourite in this set is the Russian infantryman. Comes with his binocular pouch. He's got this really cool Red Star belt, machine gun. Now I also have a ammo box and some more grenades for him as well, but for now, until I find them again, it just has to remain empty. Now, have you guessed the one that's missing? That's right, the British Tommy figure is missing. Strangely enough, I don't really like it that much. I think the gas mask and everything just kind of like, It annoys me because the gas mask tube is bright orange, and to me it doesn't really look authentic, but I do have a uniform somewhere. I just need to get hold of this a 60s painted head figure, and I'll match him up with the uniform. I also need another stand. Right, let's have a look at the next shelf. Cool. And then next we have the shelf with a few bits in it. My favourite being the Navy Attack. Looks awesome there. And then definitely the Scramble Pilot with hard to find pencil. At the back there you have the NSO, Landing Signal Officer, one of the most pointless figures ever produced in the Action Man line. There wasn't even a plane out this time. And on the right there you have the Crash Crew set, very underrated set, hardly anybody has this in their collection. And then the awesome Mail Away Canadian Mountie. Was released on the card, but a very rare card to find, released for maybe a year at the most. If you do find it carded, you're talking £1,000 plus. Very nice one. This was mint figure on a mint uniform. And then this shelf. So in the G.I. Joe world, they didn't release sports figures until the 70s, I believe. So what you have here is the Action Man line becoming a British, like British identity really. They released the cricket player. There's another one down here. This is the original vintage jumper. That's the 40th. Because the 40th looks really nice. The vintage, near impossible to find without holes and looking grimy. I just got this in last week and it's really nice. Next up you have the judo outfit. One of the most rarest outfits in the toy line. He carded, you're talking about maybe 3, 4, 5 grand easily. Now the figure itself, mint, the uniform mint with a figure, you get it for 600-700 quid easily. It took me ages to find his trousers. I randomly hit that some guy was selling these trousers and the ones from the 70s, which are so much easier to come by, for like 20 quid. So I basically bought them straight away. I was like, I have them, I just need to get them. They're not amazing, but they're good enough. The jacket's much nicer. I got it from a guy in Portugal, a famous collector. And the belt was given to me kindly by a guy at a toy fair. Now, I don't have any of the other belts. We're talking maybe £50 each per belt, and I think there's 8 altogether. So as you can imagine, it's a lot of money to put this figure together. I'm hoping to maybe get another belt this year though. And then we have the 1960s style footballer. The badge is a replica. I put it on there. This came in a job lot of 60s stuff, including the Scramble Pilot, this chap here, and the cricketer. He is lovely, really, really nice. The nylon style top is always ripped. Pretty appalling condition, but this one was beautiful. I was so glad to get hold of this. I was just so happy. It's something that I never really thought I would get hold of because they're pretty hard to find. The 70s footballers are so much more easy to get hold of, but they still suffer from being terrible condition. They're always really dirty. Has this ball down there. The brown ball doesn't come with this set, it actually comes with a Subbuteo set. But because in the 66 World Cup the ball they played with was, I believe, like a browny orange colour, I thought this would complement it quite well. And then we have the Polo Explorer. He's really nice. This is one set I just pieced together, bit by bit. Whenever I get parts in job lots, I don't, with most of my Action Man stuff, I don't usually buy pieces outright. I never really bought a uniform complete. I always buy them bit by bit, or I just basically wait until I find them in job lots. And you'll be surprised, things do turn up. I've bought job lots of 70s and 80s stuff, and there's been 60 bits in there and vice versa. So these things were sold en masse. And thousands of kids had these toys, so you will eventually find everything. It's just finding them on card, which is near impossible. I mean, if you wanted to buy, for example, the Action Man Judo set complete, it's on the internet. You can buy them on eBay. You can ask around and some collectors will have one for sale. They're not impossible to find loose. They're just a bit tricky. And then down here we have, which is the dark cabinet, because right at the bottom, we have the combat soldier in the corner. He basically is the same as the normal soldier at the top, but just added with a belt, helmet, rifle, which needs the original rifle. That rifle was got a plastic strap on it. It needs to be like an elastic strap. And the jacket. Heavy weapons chap. He's really cool. It took me a while to put them together because these kind of like lapel things are always missing. Then we have the tank commander, or armoured car commander, as he's called. He comes with a very unique sort of helmet, basically. He's really cool and very hard to find. I bet he falls over now. No, we might get away with it. The problem about him is, when you eventually find the helmet with the sticker and the goggles and the microphone, that's quite tricky. But the radio is the trickiest bit. This bit here is pretty simple to find. You could probably pick this up for about £5. But finding the legs unbroken, you're talking maybe £50 easily. And then finally, this is probably the first or second figure I ever actually completed. It's the Ministry Police, based on the American G.I. Joe. Really cool. I've always loved him. I've always thought he was a great figure. Comes with a like a gun there, a truncheon there, and his backpack full of his kit. Really cool figure. Really smart. So that's it basically. So yeah, in a nutshell, this is pretty much my 60s collection. Eventually I will get another cabinet where I will be adding more 60s stuff, and then it will eventually become 70s. I'd like to get a cabinet where I can display the Foot Locker and the Polar Sledge with all the dogs and the actual tent, Arctic tent. But that will be in a couple of months' time when I can afford another cabinet, because these are £200, as I said. They're pretty expensive. And then finally I need to get my British Tommy figure in there as well. So guys, that's my current 60s collection. Sorry I sped through it. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, happy hunting and stay safe.